الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن بالله ونشكره ونعوذ به من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه وخليله ادى الامانه بلغ الرساله نصح لهذه الامه وجاهد بالله حتى توفاه ربه وصلى الله عليه وعلى اله واصحابه وكل من اهتدى بهداهم واستنى بسنتهم وقتفى اثرهم الى يوم الجزاء والدين. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, I want to talk today about a topic that I want you to ponder upon. But not only that, but I want you to act upon. And I would like to start by asking you a question. Have you ever wondered about, and have you ever pondered upon the most important blessing that you have been granted? And when we talk about the term blessing, many people's minds will jump to materialistic aspects of this worldly life. Many people will start thinking about money, about other materialistic aspects. I'm not talking about all of that. I'm talking about the most important blessing of all that you have. The blessing is of being guided to Islam. The blessing that will save you from hellfire. The blessing that will make your last house the paradise. So have you ever pondered upon this blessing? Have you ever pondered upon how to thank Allah for this blessing? Upon how to bring others to this blessing? How to save others from hellfire? How to save others from the darknesses that they live in their lives to the light of Islam? Have you ever pondered upon how to thank Allah? And with regards to all blessings, we must thank Allah. The rule is clear. وَقَالَ لَإِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. And if you thank me, then I will grant you more. So, as per the rule for all blessings, we need to thank Allah for this blessing. So have you ever pondered upon all of these questions? Or have you ever pondered upon how to bring others as well, how to save others from hellfire? The blessing of calling people to Allah is what I want to talk about today. Allah has sent from His mercy to mankind people to guide them. But before that, He has He has clarified that our purpose and mission in life is to worship Him. Allah has made this clear. I have not created mankind and jinnkind apart from worshiping Him. So your mission in life is clear. Your mission is to worship Him while you are in this stage of the worldly life. So, from the mercy of Allah, He has sent prophets and messengers to show you how to fulfill your mission, to show you how you achieve your purpose of life. And that's how He has sent so many prophets and so many messengers to many people, many communities, even before the community of Islam. منهم من قصصنا عليك ومنهم من لم نقصص عليك. Prophets and messengers that we don't even know their names. They have not been narrated to us. لم نقصصهم عليك. Allah has not even mentioned their names to us. So from His mercy, He has sent all of these prophets, all of these messengers, so that they guide people to Allah. They warn them from the hellfire. They take them out of their darknesses and they bring them to the light of the submission to Allah, to the light of the way of Allah. So, with the death of the last prophet and messenger, this responsibility was put under this community. This responsibility, there is no other prophet and messenger that's going to come after Muhammad. So, with the last one closing the door of the revelation, this responsibility was put on you and myself. This responsibility of calling people to Allah was put on everybody of this community. The reason you have been, and you are the best community that has been sent forth to mankind. What's the reason? تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. So He even put the calling people to Allah, forbidding people from doing the wrong before even the belief in Allah. And we know that there is nothing more important than the belief in Allah. But Allah, when it came to the reason why we have been chosen to be the best community because you تأمرون بالمعروف. You call people to Allah. You call people to do good things. وتنهون عن المنكر. One will not be exaggerating if he says that your purpose in life is not just about worshiping Him, but it's also about take others from their darknesses so that they worship Him as well. And that's why the mission, and that's why the prophets and the messengers are the highest stages of all mankind. Because their mission was not only to worship them to worship Him as individuals, but as well to call others to worship Him. And we know all the efforts that the prophets and the messengers went through so that their own community believe in their Lord. And specifically our prophet and messenger that I want to talk about today, specifically in this khutbah. In the next week, I will talk about the companions, what they have achieved in their life, how they have fulfilled their mission of calling people to Allah. And in the last one, I will talk about your and my responsibility. So let's just talk about the Prophet ﷺ, how he has borne his responsibility, how he has achieved his mission. Allah from the moment he was given the order to call people to Allah, he has borne this responsibility to the best of his ability. He has struggled with his own community. From the moment he was tasked to call people to Allah, he did so, not fearing anyone, not fearing the consequences of his acts. And whoever from the prophets and messengers came before him with the goodness, with the truth, unless they were tested, unless they went through difficulties in their life. So the Prophet ﷺ, from the moment he was tasked, he called people to Allah, and so that you and myself, sitting here today, talking here today, are testifying that there is no God but Allah. This is what the Prophet ﷺ has done in his lifetime. And we know the difficulty that he's gone through with his own family. Abu Jahl, we know his uncle, and putting on him guts of animals while he's making prayer. We know all the difficulties that he's gone through while calling people to Allah, but that didn't stop him from fulfilling his mission. That didn't stop him from calling people to Allah. That didn't stop him from fulfilling the order and the command that Allah has put on him and on this community. And I will just narrate one story that shows really the difficulty that Prophet ﷺ has gone through in his life. And the story is the story that was narrated by the Prophet himself. When Aisha, his wife, the mother of the believers, she asked him, have you ever had a day more difficult than the day of Uhud? And we know that the day of Uhud was one of the most difficult days in Islam. The day of the battle of Uhud, when the Prophet ﷺ has lost the battle. And when you lose the battle, knowing that you are on the truth, is more difficult than when you lose it, knowing that you are just fighting for a falsehood. For ﷺ being on the truth, knowing that definitely he is on haq, he is on the reason, he is on the right path, and still losing the battle. Losing not only the battle, but losing his companions. Losing some of his best companions, his best friends. Not only that, losing some of his family members. And we know that Hamza, he was killed in this battle. Not only that, but they opened his body and they played with his body. They played with the parts of his body. So the Prophet was saddened so much by this event. So when people will ask him, like Aisha she did, have you ever had a day more difficult? They will refer back to Uhud, because that was one of the days in which we could feel the sadness of the Prophet. We could feel the emotions of the Prophet. So she asked him, have you ever had a day more difficult than the day of Uhud, than the day of the Battle of Uhud? He said, لَقَدْ لَقِيتُ مِنْ قَوْمِكِ مَا لَقِيتُ. I have found from your community what I have found. وَكَانَ أَشَدَّ مَا لَقِيتُ يَوْمُ الْعَقَبَةِ. And one of the most difficult days that I found was the day of the Aqaba. When I presented myself to Ibn Abd Yalay, when I presented myself, حينما عرضت نفسي على ابن عبد يالي فلم يجبني إلى ما دعوت. And he didn't respond to me. Do you think that the Prophet ﷺ, when he raised his call to Allah, people responded to him? No. People didn't respond to him. They used to say, he is the Ameen, he is the one who is the most trustworthy person amongst us. And yet, the moment he called people to Allah, he wasn't anymore the most trustworthy person. He has gone from a high status in his community to not being trusted by anyone just because he's calling for the truth. Just so that you sitting in this place, believing in Allah, saying that there is no God but Allah. And this day, the Prophet he said, عرضت على نفسي على ابن عبد يالي. I have presented myself to Ibn Abd Yalay. فلم يجيبني إلى ما دعوت. He hasn't responded to what I have asked. فانطلقت وأنا مغموم على وجهي. And they have departed overwhelmed with excessive sorrow until I found myself in حتى وجدت نفسي في ابن عبد يالي فلم يجيبني إلى ما دعوت فانطلقت وأنا مغموم على نفسي فلم أستفق إلا وأنا بقرن الثعالب. And they have not, and until I realized that I was in قرن الثعالب. In that moment, the Prophet ﷺ, he has noticed this, a cloud shadowing him. He said, فَرَفَعْتُ رَأْسِي فَإِذَا بِجِبْرِيلٍ. And they have raised my eyes, and they saw Jibreel in it. And he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ سَمِعَ قَوْلَ قَوْمِكَ لَكَ. وَمَا رَدُّوا عَلَيْكَ. Allah has heard what your people's response was, and what they have responded to you. وَقَدْ بَعَثَ مَلَكُ الْجِبَالِ تَأْمُرَهُ بِمَا شِئْتَ. And he has sent down the angel of the mountains. You can ask him whatever you want. And think and put yourself in this difficult moment, in which nobody is with you. You are on your own in haqq, while others are groups and groups on the falsehood. What would be your response? What would be your reaction? He said, فسلم علي ملك الجبال وقال يا محمد ذلك فيما شئت إن شئت أطبق عليهم الأخشبين. The angel of the mountains, he has greeted me and he said, you have whatever you asked. If you want me, I can أطبق عليهم الأخشبين. I can make the two mountains that are surrounding Mecca fall on them. And their story would have ended in seconds. Not in seconds, in less than that. إن شئت أطبق عليهم الأخشبين. I will make the two mountains fall on them in a matter of seconds, and their story would end. قال بل أرجو الله أن يخرج من أصلابهم من يعبد الله ولا يشرك به شيئا. He said, no, but I hope that Allah will let them beget children that will worship Him alone and not but Him. This is a man who is in his most difficult moments, living hardship, going through a high emotional stage, and yet his intention is to make them beget, and his hope is to let them live so that they beget children that they will worship Allah and not but Him. And that's why today you can see so many people in this earth believing in Allah. So this khutbah is just about what the Prophet ﷺ has done and how he has fulfilled his mission, how he has borne his responsibility. Next week I will talk about the companions, give few examples as well, as we have done with the Prophet ﷺ. And if Allah allows us to live longer, then the week after I will talk about your and my responsibility. What can we do to bring others from their darknesses? We have not been created to go to work, come back from work, do this routine life. No, we have been created for a higher purpose than this. So Allah ينفعنا بما سمعنا ويجعلنا ما ينفعنا ويجعلنا ما ينفعنا.